ready to make it happen. So, as like I said, I'm excited. This is the online happy hour. We're getting it in. Yeah, got some guests who are going to call in and chime in and be a part of what we're doing. So you know how we do. 847-47 iLife is the call-in number. Again, 847-47 iLife is the call-in number. Um, Let me just be sure that I got what's going on and bring people onto the platform and the program. I got some folks that will need to make sure that when you come on to the show, folks, be sure that you connect your microphone before we can add you to the stream. Make sure that you can hear yourself first and foremost, because I want your voice to be heard. I want what you have to say to be heard through our listening audience and to get some good game and get some insight. So please be sure to chime in again. 847-47 iLife is the call-in number. We're live every Tuesday and Thursday, 7 to 8:30 Central Standard Time. So let's get it in, man. You know what the topic is. We've discussed this before. We've seen this on social media, and it's time to dive in. But really, before we do, let me go ahead and put the disclaimer out there, because the thoughts and ideas displayed here on the online happy hour do not reflect those who are broadcasting and sharing their information on this particular platform as a whole. But what it does reflect are those who are willing to talk about their experiences as it relates to their life and situations and their lifestyle. So without further ado, let's dive off into tonight's topic. We're talking about Ice Cube on the hot seat. You know, the hip hop artist, you know, the brother you love to hate. He's back again. We're not making the movies anymore right now. He's not putting out another hip hop album, not doing anything on tour, but with the importance of the political stand that we're on right now, Ice Cube is making an impact. How is he making an impact? Well, you've seen what's going on with the media and the political game. We've talked about and seen some of the stuff that's going on. My good friend, author Jazz Singleton, is going to be chiming in with us. May get a call and hear from the good Reverend Dr. JR. We may hear from the lovely lady Coco first. You never know. So we'll see. And again, let me just kind of make sure I got this squared away. Let's do that. Let's kind of hit that one right there. Try to get her on. Boy, this technology is a beast, ain't it? You learn something new. Let me get Jazz on real quick to talk about this and just kind of enlightening what is really important with this topic and why this one really sticks home to me. I'm a hip hop artist. I'm a hip hop fan. I've cut a little bit of a track here and there, but I grew up on the music of Ice Cube, man. NWA and Ice Cube, the solo artist. You know, back in my younger days in the late 80s, I was listening to the NWA and the Posse records and albums and cassette tapes. So I'm familiar with the brother. I've listened to Ice Cube growing up in, you know, my high school days on the solo tip. You know, the brother putting out some album, and it pretty much was a very instrumental part of my high school education in life. If anybody sees anything on my chin, it's probably a little bit of the screen and the shadowing turning colors. But when we talk about what Ice Cube is doing now, right? Beyond the movies, beyond the Fridays, beyond the where are we there yet? You know, beyond all the things that we've seen in film and on music and on tracks. Now we're stepping into a political era. And I remember the verse very clearly. I'll never have dinner with the president, but it seems as though that he's having intricate meetings to meet with those in political power. So look, man, I'm hearing all the ups and downs about what's going on, what's being said, what's being standardized, what's being, you know, mythological in the arena, the rumors, the truth, and sometimes even the Photoshop. So we're going to talk about that tonight. I want to hear from you all if you want to chime in. If not, just listen, get on the chat room, get on the feed, and talk about this. Ice Cube is on the hot seat tonight, so we can talk about these things. Lay down a little bit of the inside story, what's been going on, what we've been hearing, what we've been saying, and how we relate to what's going on. So let's just look at why this is truly important. if we can. I want to get Jazz to come on. Looks like a little technical difficulty on the back end, but I want to get Jazz to come on. But let's look at why hip hop now, right? So it was a period of time where hip hop wasn't welcomed into the mainstream and into the media. You all know this. You know, hip hop was more of like our own little circle of communication in our neighborhood, right? Whether you're in the East Coast or the West Coast, it was something that we just talked about music wise, just for our own personal rhyme and reasons. And we began to just kind of adapt in our own level of culture with hip hop. And it was just our way of communicating with our peers. Not quite sure why. Having little issues right there. Browsers blocked the site. I don't understand that at all. I'm trying to let you in. So maybe we'll try a little bit different. Reach out, folks. Call the call-in number. Again, it's 847-474-5433. Again, 847-474-5433. That's the call-in number to chime in and get some of this good game and good insight that we're showing up tonight. But hip-hop as a culture, man, think about this, right? It was shunned out a little bit, and now it's starting to get welcome. It's starting to get intertwined in what we're hearing. If we're listening to our television and watching some of the commercials, in the background you'll begin to hear, you know, some 80s tunes and hip hop tunes, and it's kind of relative because it's driving that particular audience. It's who you want to purchase your products. You hear it from Walmart, you'll hear it from fast food restaurants, you'll hear it from Lowe's, you'll hear it from different entities, because that's who their target audience is. They know Black America consumes quite a bit. So let's target you and where you are and what you're doing and get you in to their shops, their stores, wherever the case may be. So listen, we're seeing several different feeds, right? We're seeing several different feeds along the McDonald's, right? The commercials. I got hip hop artists there because I know if you're looking at your hip hop artist and you want to be like your hip hop artist, you're going to dress how they dress. You're going to sound like they sound. And eventually you're going to want to eat what they eat. So even though you haven't seen this artist pick up and eat and shoot this freaking quarter pounder on their own time, it's relative to you as a consumer to say, yeah, I think I want that. It looks good. I want to enjoy that particular item. So I'm going to buy based on the merit because I heard the hip hop song and it's calling me as a response, right? If they're playing country music and that's not your flavor, chances are you're going to tune that out, right? If they're playing opera music and it's not really your flavor, it's something you're going to tune out. They know you're listening. They know what commercials to play on the air, what you're watching, your football games, your NBA games. What is that? What's the show that's on right now? Have you watched it, dude? He hasn't seen it. Lovecraft, Country. Some of the shows that people are knowing that they're getting involved in, and you can talk about that. So that's the kind of information that we're beginning to share and beginning to see, that hip hop is intertwining with our lives. Especially in this election year, why not go after that? Why not go after that individual? It doesn't really register to the naked eye, but that's a subliminal message to get you to continue to buy into what we're feeding you, pun intended. Right? So you got your hip hop music, you got all that spinning, you got all that going on, and now since you've awakened the beast of hip hop, well, let's talk to the artists who produce the music. I don't really want to use your jingle. I don't really want to use your say so, because now I got to pay you for that. But what we are seeing is those who are standing in a position of notoriety to say that, hey, let's go ahead and get in and talk to these people, or rather yet be a voice. This is what we want to hear. This is who we feel like hearing from, and we want to talk to these people. So let's do that. Let's hear from who's in power, if you will, who has influence, and who we can begin to notice and recognize that may have a voice in the hip hop community, right? So along comes Snoop Dogg, and you may see Snoop taking pictures with Donald Trump. You may not see that so much on the campaign side with Joe Biden, because it is pretty much, if you will, I don't know, assumed that Black America is going to go Democratic. What say ye? Is it really just saying that if you, like he's made the statement, Joe Biden made the statement, if you will, if you're not voting for Biden, you ain't Black. So it's assuming that because you are a Black American, you're going to get that vote from Ye said Joe Biden. I'm not understanding how you're just going to assume this without us understanding your agenda, your motive, what you're going to do. Because here in this United States of America, it hasn't been much of an increase when we're targeting, economic growth, economic power, living situations for Black Americans. So when I hear that statement, if you ain't Black, you ain't voting for Biden, that's an oxymoron to me. So that says that, if you're staying in the situation where you are, you're going to vote for me. Well, where's that level of change? Where does that thing have to come into play to say that this is something different, something new? Back that up a little bit by, Black Americans stand behind me because I believe in this, and that's going to help you get to a different level and increase your way of living. That wasn't stated. You ain't Black. If you ain't Black, you ain't voting, for me. And that's not a direct quote, but that's pretty much the synopsis of what was said. Not quite sure, Jazz, why they're sitting kicking on over here. This is kind of crazy. I want to bring Jazz on. You may just have to give me a call and just chime in. Again, 847-47-iLife is the call-in number. 847-474-5433. So if you are, ladies and gentlemen, paying attention to the wordplay that's going on in America right now, especially with this election coming up very soon, we're just a few weeks away from Election Day, to determine not only what goes on in your local community, but what goes on for the presidency of the United States. One of the most powerful positions on planet Earth. So here comes a level of intricacy when we're dealing with Black America and the agenda to have Black American voters log in, right? What does that look like? Hold that thought 1 second. My camera's good. I'm not quite sure, Jazz, why you're not getting good audio over here. It looks good on my side, so I believe you should be all go. Not understanding why you can't chime in and get on this side. Just give me a call on your end. We can talk about that a little bit later, but not quite sure what's going on there. You've got a level of change is opening up. This door of information is now opening up to where the culture of Generation X, who grew up on hip hop, is now being welcomed to the forefront, right? And they know that our voice, makes some noise, makes some chatter. We do talk, we do make comments. We are emotional, yes, we are, and we have a very intricate say-so, and we do follow quite a bit. So what I mean by follow is we follow what's popular. We follow what's hot. We follow what's trending. And that goes to speak definitely much so on multiple means of your social media platforms. If you're logged into any social media platform, whether it's your smartphone, whether it's your iPad, you've connected to a medium of social media, so you're following something. Your YouTube, your Netflix, your Instagram, your Facebook. You're following something, so you find out the top trends. You want to see what's going on, and the people in power of political game recognize that as well. So you've got someone like Ice Cube, right? You've got Ice Cube that says, hey, there has to be something more than what's being said and what's going on, right? So I've dug into a little bit myself, and I heard something that was stated by Brother Malcolm X not long ago. Well, not long ago, before he passed away, actually. So let me drop this clip on you that I got when it talks about, and you can pull this up on your own, but I want somebody to hear it here on this platform and tell me a little bit what Malcolm said that differs from what Ice Cube had to say. So if I type this in, Malcolm X on voting, I'm going to go to this clip here via YouTube, and I want to be able to share this information with the listening audience. So let's do this. Let's let you hear what's going on and what's being said. We'll talk about Michael Steele also. I got that. Trust me. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. So peep game. Let's talk about this. I'm gonna share my screen so you all can see this. And make sure that you all can get this information. So I'm gonna share this right here with you now. This is what Malcolm X had to say when the information was talked about voting. Check this out. Peep game on this one.
I wouldn't suggest that they vote for any party or either party. I would suggest that the so-called Negroes become politically mature, realize the power that they hold in the field of politics, and then once the person who is running is aware that this man is awakened to the power that he holds, then that person who is running will approach that Negro on a more intelligent plane. As it is right now, most of the Negro leaders sell out to the white politicians who are firm, and an political awakening among Negroes will make it impossible for the present Negro leaders to sell our people out as they can do in Japan. So you do think Negroes should vote? Negroes should do whatever is necessary to bring about a complete solution to their problem. When I say whatever is necessary, they should have the flexibility to do whatever is necessary to solve the problem.
So yeah, whatever's necessary, right? That's what Malcolm had to say. So it's what we're looking at. You have to do what's necessary. So if you have somebody that's in political power, right, and you have somebody that is going to give you any kind of notoriety for where you are, do you want to find out what their agenda is or what they have to say, right? Do you have an idea, or are you just going to just rely on the emotion, right, of well, what I've heard is, well, Trump is a racist. Yeah, well, who in political power isn't? Give me a little bit more on that. Give me a little bit more on why Biden is a better choice. Give me a little bit more on why you believe Trump is a better choice. And what do you expect them to do for you that hasn't been done thus far? There is an awakening to earn your vote rather than just get it for the sake of getting it. So I'm going to stand with you to say that that's something that is very important. Now, there are some things that I do disagree with. So Tasha says no president has done anything for Black Americans. She gets it. However, 3 weeks before the election, she can understand the objective and what that Ice Cube does plan to accomplish. Makes sense, right? That is something that we have to look at, and we have to recognize the time that we're in. They're pushing for the vote, man. Folks want to gain your vote, like Brother Malcolm says, by any means necessary. They know that this is the time that we're getting emotional. We want to see something. We're going to see some change. So how do we do that? Well, in steps Ice Cube to say that there is a CWBA, a contract with Black America that wants to be presented. This is what we want to see done for Black America. All in one category, all of Black America, all of the 13% of what we rely on, not the 13 colonies, but the 13% of what we make up of this country. Has there been much growth? Slightly, 1% growth over the past, 15 to 20 years? Think about that. So if we're going to vote, now put your thinking caps on, folks. If we're going to vote and you want to just say that I'm going to vote for this person for the sake of voting, Nothing's going to change with what's happening, but I know I just want the lesser of two evils. But I don't really expect anything to be different. We're just voting. So what are we doing? What's happening with that? Come on now, talk to me about this. I know you all feel some kind of way, and I can do that. I'm gonna reach out to a few social media pages and weigh in on what some people had to say, which made this show very relevant to make me want to discuss it. So if we look at what Ice Cube is doing, one, he's raised his hand to say, hey, enough is enough. I want to take a stand, right? Or watch this now. There's something else going on that we're truly not talking about, and I just want to get in because at the level that Cube is at, and let's look at this also. As I told y'all, man, you can't just always go to the same 5 little links that you look at Netflix and Facebook and all that stuff. You got to stay ahead, man. This is the information age. So if we go here and we just look at Ice Cube net worth, right? Ice Cube's net worth. Right now, the brother stands to be a net worth of $160 million. One of the richest rappers in the world, not just America, in the world. Likely one of the most successful people. Even though he started off at a humble beginning, he's also moved into a category of $160 million. And yes, sir, ma'am, you have contributed to some of his income. You know, if you bought one of the NWA albums, if you bought one of the Death Certificate albums, the Lethal Injection album, right? When you went to see Friday after next, Friday, next Friday. Are we there yet? I mean, the list goes on and on. So you've contributed some kind of way to his income and his growth. But yet now we're coming back and saying, oh, Cube, what are you doing? What are you saying? Well, one, he stands in a different tax bracket. So does his money mean he's a little bit different than you all? Us, if you will? I mean, let's look at that. So are we saying that, well, maybe he's just because the rich want to stay rich and the wealthy want to stay wealthy? Well, money does play a part of this. And where money really takes a toll is you can't really come to the table unless you have some income, right? Money makes things happen. Money is something that really tunes in and turns people on. So when you talk about what Ice Cube really did anybody see when Ice Cube jumped on CNN, right? Did you see that one? Did you hear what he had to say from his mouth? Now, there's something that plays in this. I'm going to play this also because it's very important, again, folks, to really tune this in and make sure that we get some true understanding of what's going on. So from Ice Cube's mouth, I'm only going to play just a clip of it. Let me turn this on. Ice Cube on CNN. Talk about this, and we're going to hear what the people had to say. We're going to hear what Cube had to say about this. So, Peep Gang, check this out as I open this up. So, let me go ahead and again share this screen, give you some insight, and play what Ice Cube had to say on this particular topic here. Check it out.
Our next guest is Ice Cube. If you know anything about him, and you probably do, you know he started his career rapping in defiance about police presence and the realities of inner city life. And he got political with his songs as well recently during the Trump administration, most recently in 2018. Here's a taste.
Arrest the president. You got the evidence. That is Russian intelligence.
Now we see a shift. Now he wants to work with President Trump. Here's what the president had to say most recently about Black Lives Matter.
The first time I ever heard of Black Lives Matter, I said, that's such a terrible term because it's such a racist term. It's a term that sows division between blacks and whites and everybody else. And it's a very bad term for blacks. But they were very angry. It's a Marxist organization.
With all that going on, and how the president continues to speak about there being no systemic inequality, it's no shock that Ice Cube got some heat for deciding to work with the Trump administration. He wants to deal with it. I want to understand it. So should you. So here is Ice Cube on Prime Time. Thank you for taking the opportunity, brother. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Chris, your lead-ins are a little misleading.
How so?
Well, the platinum plan is not my plan. I came up with the contract with Black America, and I didn't run to go work with any campaign. Both campaigns contacted me. Both campaigns wanted to talk to me about the contract with Black America. One campaign said, "We love what you have, but let's really dig into it after the election." And one campaign said, "We love what you have. Do you mind talking to us about it?" And that's what I did. So I didn't run in nobody, and so that was real misleading to me.
I didn't say you ran to anybody. I said that you had taken a pivot.
Well, you said I ran over to the Trump team instead of the Biden team. That's just not true.
Well, you are working with the Trump team instead of the Biden team, and people are giving you heat for it. What do you say to them?
Well, I'm willing to work with both teams, but I'm just working with whoever is willing to work with me. So the Trump campaign came to me and asked me to explain to them some of the contract with Black America. That's what I did. I'm not playing no more of these games, these political games. We're not part of a team. We have very broad problems, especially the wealth gap in this country when it comes to Black Americans. So I'm going to whoever's in power, and I'm going to speak to them about our problems specifically. I'm not going there talking about minorities. I'm not going there talking about people of color or diversity or none of that stuff. I'm going there for Black Americans, the ones who are the descendants of slaves. And that's what I'm going to talk to anybody who's in power with that. So if anybody got a problem with that, it seems like a personal problem.
Well, here's the problem, and it is very personal, as you know, for a lot of people of color, because they'll say, well, why would you pick Trump when he says there's no such thing as systemic inequality?
I'm not picking nobody. He's the president.
But why do you think he'd want to do something for the community when he says there's no such thing as systemic inequality?
I don't know what he want to do. I just know what the man said. I know what he said to the country. I've never met Donald Trump. So I don't know what he's going to do. I just know what he said he was going to do. So both of them have a plan. Both of them say they're going to do something. And who knows what's really going to happen after November 3rd. Nobody knows from each side. We're all hoping that candidates keep their campaign promises. So that's just it.
So let's look at it this way.
Right. So let's talk about that, man. Appreciate that look, man. That's real talk up in here. I'm glad we had to get that squared away and hear from Ice Cube directly on what was stated and how he felt, right? So here's where the rubber meets the road, because based on what you heard, you've got people out here saying, well, Cube is a sellout. His agenda is not mine. And whatever he's standing for, whatever he's saying, it's not really necessary to represent all of Black America. Well, we don't know what the contract of Black America is, right? Not quite sure. It didn't really get off into the whole gist of it. But keep in mind, we're talking money for money, right? We're talking dollar for dollars. And now you've got the attention of Black America now, because somebody that I'm familiar with is looking here, right? Somebody that I know has their eye on this particular thing, right? So you have to understand, man. Listen, you all know this, man. You have to come out of the emotional aspect of this, right? Take the emotional aspect off of this and see this for what it is, and make this thing a reality, right? Donald Trump been in television for quite some time, right? Knows how to work the camera, knows how to draw attention, knows how to get the ratings, right? We're talking to people who are in the information age and showing what we're doing in front of us. It's the emotion, it's the drama, it's the action, it's the suspense, sometimes even the fucking horror of it all. Oh my God, what are we gonna do? Ice Cube is teaming up with Donald Trump. How does that look, America? I mean, come on. Come on, man. Think about this. Brett says greed is greed regardless of color. Yeah, man, we got some money game going on here because you can't go to the table without having some money in your pocket. You cannot do that. You know, when I asked the question, you know, if you yourself were going to have a contract with Black America, what would you say? What would you do differently? And nobody had anything to say. Why? Because your money talks. Your money speaks for what you want to accomplish. We're in a society that we have to put some cash behind the votes that we do. The intricacies of the people who you want to influence. And a lot of the influence that you put in, you have to put some money behind it. So I'm not going to make the time as a president or president-elect to get up on a platform in front of anyone that doesn't offer me a benefit of what I have to gain, right? So if I'm bringing something to the forefront, and I'm living in Dallas, Texas, right? And I come from a household that makes, let's say, you know, $70,000 a year, right? I've got 2 vehicles and I'm living a little over check to check and I'm making do, but I'm enjoying my life. How much influence do I really have, right? I got 1 vote from that person and maybe 2 or 3 more around you. But if I got some money, man, I'm living in Los Angeles, California, and I've got some credentials that wherever I go, whatever I tweet is going to be millions upon people. And I got some do-re-mi in my pocket to sing along with what I'm talking about. Yeah. I'm going to listen to this person because they're going to get me votes. They're going to get me what I need. They're going to get me into that realm of finding out a better plan and what I can do to keep me in the state of power. Right? So you heard people say, well, you know, the Democrats wouldn't listen at this time. And are you going to have to wonder why not? You know, some people are saying, well, they're going to wait until after the election to hear what the plan is, the contract for Black America. Contract with Black America, CWBA, contract with Black America. So what are we actually saying to that? What are we speaking to on this that says we're gonna push this off and we're gonna wait? Are you confident that you can't do that? Or are you saying that, well, even though you want to bring some dollars to the table, what you're wanting to present right now isn't something I want to agree with, and let's put that off and let's just see how far that goes. It's a money game, folks. You have to see that for what it is. This is every president that's come into his reign or his governing for whatever years that they were on, led by what got them there. Okay? They led by what got them there. That's how you got your job in your position, wherever you're living. That's how you got your job, by what got you there, what was on your resume. Okay? So you have people who are here right now that say that, well, I know ratings, I know numbers, I know people, I know statistics. They're not buying off of how you truly feel because they know your emotions may not matter right now, right? But your numbers are going to speak volumes. What you do, how you behave, your character is going to happen. Brett says money can't buy my vote, right versus wrong. Real talk. And it shouldn't buy your vote because if your cash is going to be influential, you've heard me say this before on the topic, everybody has a price. And people do. You have a price. The job that you work at, right? If they paid you $10,000 more, would you leave? Chances are, yeah. Right? You love what you do. You love the impact of what it affects. But if you could do it for a little bit more money, you'd step away. Everybody's got a price. You signed up for that job and you said, I'm going to come and I'm going to put in my hours at this particular job at this time. But if your job pays you $10,000, $20,000 less, you'll be looking for another fucking job. Everybody has a price. You be honest with yourselves, man. This is what we're talking about here on the Online Happy Hour. Getting it in. So each and every Tuesday, man, I'm going to come live. Each and every Thursday, I'm going to come live with some good talk, some good game, and some good reality about what's going on. Today, we're talking about Ice Cube on the hot seat. Now, with Q being on CNN opening up to an entirely a new audience that doesn't see him on the regular. Because of course they say he's welcome back. Now this is a news platform, right? Normally you're seeing Ice Cube on platforms of hip hop and R&B radio stations. You're seeing him on platforms of movie theater productions, Cube Vision, right? Twitter, social media. Not so much per se Fox News, not so much per se CNN, and probably not so much, NBC, because it's the presence and where you are not necessarily dictating that. And man, I've said this so many times that artists who are out there, and I have touched on this, man. If an artist is out there and you have some music that's out there and you say, I want my music to be heard by everybody, everybody's gonna love this track that I'm doing. No, man, you have to know your target audience. You have to know who's going to buy what you have to say and want to listen to what you have to do. If you are an artist out there and you're coming with the whole everybody loves my music and everybody wants to hear me and everybody's well, take your hip hop album to a country and western station and let everybody hear what you have to say. Chances are you're not pushing that platform because that's not the audience that you're speaking to, right? See it for what it is, man. Be real with yourself. Be honest with yourself, right? You can't generalize and go way off the bridge thinking that everybody's going to hear you what you have to say. You have to narrow that thing down and speak to a specific audience who you want to have influence on. So if Ice Cube is going to CNN, there's a specific audience that he wants to speak to chime in on that, right? He's not going over to BET because he knows who that audience is. I'm not speaking to them at this platform. I'm speaking to them right here in this element on this platform about this topic. You got to see it for what it is. Chiming in right now, giving some good insight is my main man. You've had the opportunity to hear him give some insight when we did the online happy hour at DFWI Radio, the online happy hour there. He's on the phone now. He's called in to give some insight on this particular topic. The resident Dr. JR is on the phone. What's up, fam? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Good to hear your voice, brother. How you doing, man? Where you at?
Man, I am in OKC.
Okay.
Just now kind of getting off of work and everything.
Is that odd Kansas City or Oklahoma City?
Yeah, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
For sure.
Yeah. So what's going on? What y'all talking about today?
Man, tonight I'm getting it in. I'm chiming in on the subject matter of Ice Cube on the hot seat. And right now, yes.
Why y'all messing with my boy Cube?
Because he's messing with us.
Well, okay. So I understand kind of why a lot of feathers are ruffled. Parties, right?
Okay.
To see which one is really going to try to, implement this program into their politics, right? So he's not necessarily on either side because he really don't give a damn about neither one of them. What he give a damn about is black people and how to help improve neighborhoods, give jobs, and all these other things, right?
All right. Okay.
And so a lot of people, I don't think they are understanding that he didn't go have a conversation with Trump because he voted for Trump. He's having a conversation with Trump to see if he's actually going to try to implement some of these ideas and things into his policy, right? So sometimes, even though we know who the enemy is, to get a better understanding about the enemy, you need to go sit down and have a conversation with the enemy.
I've heard that before.
And there's nothing wrong with a conversation, right?
Right.
There's nothing wrong with a conversation.
Because he's got the money. They got the influence.
Right. And so his 22-page, if ain't nobody took time out and read it, y'all need to pull it up. You can go online and pull it up and read it. And so you can get a little bit better understanding on what he's trying to do. So like I watched the interview with him, and like he was explaining when they was trying to build, I think, the 405 in LA,
Yes.
right?
Right.
They were flying in people from all over the country, right? Carpenters, electricians, construction workers, right? Putting them up in these hotels, giving them stipends and all these things to help build the highway going through South Central.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
But we know that there were men and probably women who are construction workers and carpenters and electricians who could walk to the job site, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, they could have gave them jobs to those people there, but they didn't.
In LA on the 405.
Right, in LA, you could have kept the money in the community, right? You could have gave people in the community jobs to where they can make a better life for themselves and their family.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, you want to fly somebody from New York all the way to LA and put them up in a hotel and pay them all this money, to do the same job somebody could have done and walked 2 miles. I got on the bus and rode 5 miles down.
Well, there is the influence of money, but maybe the city of Los Angeles wasn't on the same time with that. Maybe they didn't want to receive it because something that they're along the lines of that agenda, there was something that they didn't agree with. Kind of like what's going on now.
That's possibly true. That's possibly true. But again, we don't have a seat at the table. I know we didn't have a seat at the table back then. I mean, I'm not from LA. I spent a lot of my summers out there in South Central off of Florence and Normandy. But, I'm pretty sure there wasn't, we didn't have a seat at the table to where our voice could really be heard and respected and taken in consideration on the thoughts and ideas put in place. Now, somebody could have been there, but you could have just been there to fit the quota. You see what I'm saying?
No doubt. No doubt.
Sometimes we need a Hispanic and an Asian and a black man and a black woman to sit there just to fit the quota, and that's what you all are there for, just to fit the quota. But we're not really trying to take in consideration your thoughts and ideas.
Okay. Real talk, man. I'm feeling this tonight. I'm feeling why this is so necessary, because we're talking about how the influence, right, of hip hop has moved into our social realm. You've got people in political power who know that hip hop as a culture, and culture, for those who don't know, culture is just a way people do things, right? The way you talk, the way you dress, the way you act. It's not necessarily a negative thing, but just culture is just the way you behave. So when you say culture, it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's just the way that somebody behaves. And one thing that I was looking at, we're talking about maybe music. Cuba's got a song out called, Arrest the President. Talking about Donald Trump and his behavior on what he's not doing for, so said, Black America. So some people are saying, well, how are you going to put a song out talking about someone and yet you want to work with them? You're talking about they just want to come into terms with somebody who just has power. Am I right? So what influence do you believe, man, that hip hop as a whole is having on this election?
I think hip hop, period, has had an influence on the election for a long time.
Okay. Just
in mainstream media, period. So if we can go backwards to even before NWA, mainstream media wouldn't have never thought about doing a commercial with a hip hop background.
Never.
See what I'm saying? And so what they were saying back then is that this rap music is warping our kids' mind and all this stuff. Remember how they used to talk about it on the Oprah show and all this stuff, right?
Right.
Now we come forward, the first thing they trying to do is throw a hip hop background into a commercial because they know that's what sells. They know that's what people to listen to.
Exactly.
Right? Exactly. And so, listen, pretty much all the doctors I work with are white. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And when they play their music, when they turn they iPhone on or they iPods or they playlist, What you think we listening to?
Coming out of
Hip hop all day. You know, we hip hop all day. But see, my thing is, I don't have a problem with it, but I got to listen to it closely, because if I hear the N word, I'm telling them they got to change the station. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
White people don't get no passes with me no more.
So, are y'all playing "Bitch Better Have My Money" as soon as somebody come out the emergency room?
Oh yeah. Oh, it's playing. Oh, don't get it twisted. It's playing. Oh, it's playing. You see what I'm saying? And that's the realness of it. So if they want to play the radio version, it's cool all day. But I know when certain artists come on, you might need to skip that song. We know when Snoop come on, you might need to skip that song, because Snoop's saying nigga all day.
Right. Hip hop is a culture, and it's influencing the way we behave. It's influencing the way that we're eating our foods. McDonald's. We're talking about that, and we're also looking at the way hip hop is influencing, how we're voting. This is Real Talk tonight, folks. Chime in, get some of this. 847-47-9-LIFE is the call-in number. I'm talking about in what reference to what Ice Cube had to say. Somebody said, JR, that at this point, mainstream media is using hip hop for control.
Control over what, the people?
Possibly so. Brett said this. Brett said white people are scared when they become the minority. Hopefully, y'all will treat us better than we did you.
Well, yeah, I mean,
and that could very well be so. Shout out to Brett for chiming in. That could very well be a serious issue. Farrakhan said that. So when you're talking about behavior, right? You're talking about behavior, and as a culture, you have people who are in power who want to remain in power and will do what they, I don't know what you're typing, will do whatever they have to do to stay in power the way that they have power. Now, what I want to look at, and we're talking about this from a culture, a generation of people, I'm seeing that the people who are running for president right now are in their 70s, 80s years of age, where they come from the Jim Crow era, where they come from the pre-civil rights era, and you may not be able to see the culture for what it is and how we're growing and we're adapting. Now, it's one thing to see Trump on Twitter, right? I don't see Joe Biden on Twitter as much. But you have to see that where the culture is and the people are and who you're trying to influence, they have some say-so, and they could be looking at, not just looking at the phone, like, look at this motherfucker. I can't believe you're having to say this. Oh, my God. And we're going to retweet it out, whether it's good or bad. America loves the drama. We just want to continue to see drama on our television. The way we're raising our kids is drama. The way it's fights on social media, so we're not really drawn to the positivity.
No, because the drama and the violence is what sells.
Mm-hmm.
The violence and the drama is what sells. Look at these reality shows. If the Housewives of Atlanta wasn't fighting, then the Beverly Hills of Housewives would win. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so you got to have the drama. You got to have the villain. You got to have the crybaby. You got to have the peacemaker. You got to have all these players, to make the show a success.
And that could be a big reason in why people are tuning in and want to be a part of this. They want to see more drama. They've been used to and been conditioned to see foolishness. Somebody's saying that's the control they're talking about. The drama, the action. And this is something I said, y'all, before you actually chimed on. You've got people who are right now at the forefront of being in front of and behind the camera. So you've got Ice Cube, who's come into a position of being a director, right? To see drama, to see action, horror, suspense, and things of that nature, and knows how to guide particular people into that realm. So you have some people say that everything that they're doing right now is just all an act. It's all a facade. But they're just buying people to come in.
Okay. I'm pretty sure there's some truth. There's some truth to that.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. But the thing is that somehow or another you got to find a balance to it all, because we're not going to be able to shut. What? Find the balance for who?
Yeah, find the balance for who? Who has to balance? Is it the media that has to balance, or is it us as a society that says, you know, this is the era that we're in right now. We have to dig in and receive this.
Well, no, we don't have to receive it. We got choices.
How so?
We got choices. We don't have to receive it. I think majority of society make a choice to receive it, because you can turn the channel.
Yeah,
Ain't
right.
nobody forcing you to watch it. So when people are complaining about all of this stuff and nonsense on TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you complaining about it's on and this and that. And did you see this last night? Whoop, whoop. And if you're so negative about it and you don't like it, then why are you watching?
All right. So here's where we are with that. I'm going to take a little sidebar. And if you're just now tuning in, the topic tonight is called Ice Cube on the Hot Seat. We've been talking about what Ice Cube has been doing. The resident Dr. JR is on the line, giving some insight on this. So let me just kind of take a few steps back to come back to where we're at this level. We're talking on a political standpoint, and I want to look at the emotions of what we're looking at when we're talking about Black America, right? So we've got the campaign. We've got the campaign for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, right? And we're starting to see that, okay, well, you've got some pretty strong people who are running for the Democratic Party. And are we using, more or less, blackface to dive in and to get more votes? Not necessarily, because you hear people say with so much division, and this is what I don't like about our society as a culture. The way we do things is we stay divided. So when we see Kamala Harris, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that what she's doing with Joe Biden helps his campaign or hurts his campaign? Because you have people on the ticket that say that, yeah, she's the right person, not necessarily knowing what her platform is, but is it okay to question, you know, what do you want to see happen?
Yeah, I think it's okay to question. I mean, you know, we got a right to know as a people.
I wholeheartedly believe that. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm just saying we got a right to question. But here's the thing: if he would have chose a white male or female,
mm-hmm.
would a lot of society, Black America, or people of color would say, "Shit, we did lost"?
No,
you know
and that's the thing. No, we won't. But the thing is, you're not questioning them.
Right.
Don't just say, for example, just because I give you something that looks like you, find out what they're about, man, so you can stand behind it.
Right.
And because they kept
saying, they said the only way to get the black vote, the only way Biden is going to get the black vote is to bring in a black woman.
Yes.
And they said that way back in the spring and the summer.
I remember that. But are you bringing in someone?
That's all they kept saying. He got to bring in one of these black strong females, senators, or to get the black vote. And so that's what I'm saying. If he wouldn't have chosen a black person to be his running mate,
mm-hmm.
how would people react? Would they just say, "Oh, we just done lost. We ain't even gonna fight. We ain't going to vote for real now," because he didn't choose a black woman to get the black vote.
Well, you can't automatically assume that that's going to get the black vote. It's not going to get the black vote. It's not going to get the black vote because even when we had a black man running,
a lot of black folk didn't vote for him either.
Right.
So that ain't no guarantee, and that's been proven fact. Matter of fact, North Carolina and South Carolina, with both of them combined, they had more black people that did not vote than voted. 2 states combined.
That says a lot.
So exactly. So the thing of it is that having a black person don't mean a damn thing, because black folk gonna do what they want to do. People, period, not just black people, but people, period, gonna do what they want to do.
Here's a comment that comes to me,
and they're gonna do what they want to do without even knowing the policy.
Right, without knowing. And here's a comment that I'm so glad somebody mentioned this. JR, this was stated. It said that he could have actually chosen albino crocodile. It still would be a better option than Donald Trump. My question to that, I think that's hilarious. My question to that is why? What if you have the lesser of two evils, right? You have someone that's going towards, and I want to look at this in all facets. I put my mind together. I've already made my vote. I went to early vote already this past weekend.
Did you vote for Kanye?
I didn't. Actually, Kanye wasn't on my ballot.
Oh, damn.
It's funny. I look for it. But what I'm seeing is, I get that you don't like Trump, and that's cool. But what is it that you don't like, and what is it that you think that Biden is going to do better? What's he going to bring to the table that's going to make it better? If you tell me that it's just not Trump, I can receive it. But for those people who don't know, kind of help them out. Let them know what you know. Let them see what you see.
Yeah.
Because there are people out there that really just want to freaking know. They want to have an idea of it's a vague blanket of information that's out there unless you go do the research for yourself.
Right. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people are not doing. Is doing the research for themselves. They waiting on somebody to tell them, and that person that's telling them is only giving them their opinion. So it's still a one-sided issue.
And it's totally unfair, because what happens is, I've asked this question before. Would you rather me tell you what's going on, or rather me show you the information that's out there? So it could be some information that you probably really need to see that we're just not getting. We're not really learning from. Now, there's some things out there that we need to talk about, because if we look at, man, I'm digging this particular topic tonight. Ice Cube on the hot seat. Coming back to Ice Cube, when you're in a different tax bracket, right? We're talking about the money. When you're in a different tax bracket, do you see things the same way as those who you financially don't relate to, like your audience? Okay, if you're in a different tax bracket and you're making, let's say, $500,000 a year, are you going to see life the same way as somebody who makes $30,000 a year?
Nuh-uh. So it's funny you say that. So an interview with Big Boy from Outkast, right?
Mm-hmm.
The question was, when was the last time you thought about how much something costs?
Before you made a decision to purchase or invest. Right.
When was the last time you thought about it? Because he started making a certain amount of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
After a period of time. So when you start making this type of money, you're not worried about how much something costs. You just go in there and buy it. Because your money is abundance.
What you say.
As quick as you spend it, you done made it 5 times back.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of the question was posed, because when you hit that certain tax bracket, you don't worry about what common people worry about check anymore.
Check this out. Somebody said it's Trump. That's the poor race relations. That's the reason the difference, and that's what they're stating. He is going to get a lot of people, black and white, hurt. We already fighting over poverty and drugs and unemployment, poor education. Trump poured open racism on top of it. And we need to get him out in order to reset. I dig it.
Okay.
I dig it. Thank you for making that comment, man. I dig it. I dig it because people aren't seeing it. What they're seeing is, and this is what you have to see, folks. You have people who know association is a simulation. They know that this is the guy from The Apprentice, right?
Right.
They know that this is the guy from the Bobby Brown videos. They know this is the guy that was on, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when they were about to sell the show. He walks in, he gets a big round of applause. So Trump knows how to work an audience.
Right.
He
and it's funny you say about the poor race relations.
Uh-huh.
The thing is that the poor white person, like the poor black person, still is mad and hating on the poor black person, even though they're in the same economical bracket.
Race relations.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, look, if I don't get it, you don't get it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we don't get something for the school, then both of our kids are missing out on this good education, right? I mean, and so they just don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't get it. And then the way people are brought up, there's some people that just don't know nothing about food stamps.
Right.
But it's a lot of us that do. And so when you hear people talk down about people having food stamps, you kind of see them in a different way. It's not that they are bad person, it's the way they brought up, because they may not have had to have food stamps. They might not know nothing about government cheese and that hard ass butter.
So if you're looking right there from what you're saying, man, from a business aspect, then we have to be able to see that a change has to take place, right?
Right.
Something has to change, whether you are going to hold office and make a change, or whether you are going to be removed from office and the change is made. Now, usually what takes place is if you're up for re-election, it's been very, very far and few in between that somebody who's been up for re-election gets knocked out of the line. It can happen, but it hasn't happened in a very, very, very long time. So looking at the perspective of being in business, right? Ice Cube being in business, you have your agent that sometimes is going to represent and speak for you, because what they're doing is business. And if you want control with a contract with Black America, then who's to say before the contract is even addressed to the people of political power, should that contract not be reviewed by Black America if it is for Black America? I mean, let's talk about that. If this is what I'm going to say, that this is what I want representation for the people of Black America, then when does Black America get to say who I am and how that matters? I mean, we got to talk about this, folks. We have to really sit back and listen to what. That's all good. It's all cool, man. To what we have to say, right? And JR is going to come back and chime in a little bit later, but I want folks to really hear this for what this is, man. If you're saying, Ice Cube, that there's a contract with Black America to the people of political power, what's in the contract that says this is going to be the right thing or the best thing for Black America? Let's be real with this. So it's a level of being inside, man, to know, are you studying this from particular buying habits that you've seen from Black America? Are you studying this from what people are telling you? Because financially you could be a little far removed from what's going on out there. You're in Compton, but you moved to Riverside. Those were his words talking to NWA. So the money exchange was a little bit different. You live in a little different way, you know, getting your turn at bat, you know, moved on up to the big leagues, and sometimes you may have the right to speak a little differently, act a little differently, and move a little differently because your money's different. Your influence is different. Nobody on this platform right now, not that I know of, can walk up and say, you know, hey, Donald Trump, I want to go ahead and meet with you and talk about what we have to go on with. He speaks for people like Kanye West, hip hop artists. Talk to people like Ice Cube, hip hop artists. 50 Cent, hip hop artists. Somebody says, I think LBJ said that if you can make the poorest white man think he's better than all black men, then you can take both groups to the bank. Ooh! Lyndon Baines Johnson, folks, not LeBron James. Think about what's going on. People are saying this, okay? So it's people who are in power that are saying this. Find your financial income dictates what goes on in the financial levels that you have, where you are and what's going on. So think about this. Stay where you are. Think about what's happening on the financial level. Think about what's being said in multiple means about your level of finance and where you are, what you're doing, and where you're tending to grow. So what I want people to really understand, we're talking about Ice Cube on the hot seat, is what exactly is the agenda? What exactly is being said about the contract with Black America? And what all is being entailed that represents you as a people that has to say that this is what you should agree with? Talk to me about that, man. You know the calling number. JR may call back in a little bit. I appreciate him for chiming in to give us some insight. 847-474-5433 is the calling number to get some of this game. But what we need to really look at is, what does that contract with Black America look like? So the actual inside story of what Ice Cube had to do, what he said, if y'all don't know, Cube flipped into DC for about a 3-hour meeting with people in the White House, okay? So he talked to Jared Kushner, okay? He talked to other senior advisors for Donald Trump, okay? After a big, nasty summer of racial unrest, Ice Cube was promoting this contract with Black America. And what it's inspired to do, it's inspired to lift Black Americans economically. Now, the administration may or may not wanted to hear this, but the fact that he has influence speaks volumes on this, okay? Now, listen, check this out. Again, we're coming up for election. Donald Trump has been trying to get Black America to see where he is and vote for where he is. And I don't want to say he got Ice Cube's endorsement, but if the president of the United States is willing to listen to what he has to say, because listen, again, money talks, we're up on the table, he got a chance to get in. Now, if you yourself are out there and you're saying, well, I want to talk to Donald Trump and let him know about what I feel is best for Black America, and you ain't got no money, chances are he's not going to listen to what you had to say. So they had a sit-down meeting, and those aides kind of went back and forth with Ice Cube over an actual blueprint of what this collective contract with Black America truly is. So they wanted to talk about that. You know, when Trump talked about having his own proposal to really boost Black America, it included what Ice Cube had to say. So Cube was asking, if you all don't know this, Cube was asking for to have a level balance of financial empowerment. So you heard the video that came out. I want to say it was $500 billion of capital infused into the Black community. Okay, let's go ahead and just level the playing field and just bump up some money. $500 billion of capital infused into Black America. So after the Trump campaign said that Ice Cube had kind of helped shape that plan, that's where people are getting this idea that, well, he came up with the new plan. That's not it. You know, this is part of the contract. This is part of the boost. And a lot of people just wanted to kind of put themselves in there and talk about, you know, what it looks like and how it is. And now Trump is, siding with Ice Cube, and Ice Cube is endorsing Donald Trump. That's so not the case, right? I'm presenting to you a plan, an agenda, a proposal that says this is where we need to go. And the people on the Trump side, they wanted to do some like outreach to like black voters, to kind of make sure that, okay, well, if you bring this over here and get me reelected, then we'll see what we can do about that. Okay. It's kind of waging, some give and take on that. Now, keep in mind, Black America is still 13% of the United States. So as we look into the numbers of those who are early voting, that's roughly about 8% of the votes. And mind you, Chris Rock even said it for real. Black folks are only in like 10 states. We're not really in North Dakota. We're not really too much in Nebraska. We're not too far up in Maine. It's probably about 17 black folks in Delaware. It's just, they're not actually all over. It's just a few states, primarily in the South, and in the West, and a few in the colonial areas up north and the East, and a few sprinkled here in the Midwest, that Black America really matters, right? So you have to be able to see that that's roughly about maybe 8% of the vote. So if you yourself haven't voted and you haven't said that I want to put, my vote behind what's going on, then, your voice still isn't being recognized wholeheartedly on the particular means. So that's really all about, what we have to say. So again, the call-in number, if you want to chime in, we just got a few minutes to kick in on some of this. 847-47-ILIFE is the call-in number. Again, 847-474-5433 is the call-in number. Get some insight, man. Get some good game on this one. This is a real topic. Ice Cube is on the hot seat because what Cube is saying, what he's actually putting down and talking to people about, is a bit of a stretch bigger than what people are beginning to see. So now what you're beginning to see is here come the distractions, right? Here comes everybody else wanting to say a little something else or put them in videos where Cube is doing this, when he's saying this, and all these different things, because now I'm sparking up the drama. I have this suspense. I have your attention, and I can just kind of wiggle my fingers and the puppet master can go any kind of way I want to, because now I got you on these different platforms. Chiming in right now, wants to get some good insight on this particular topic. One of Cap Alphacide's finest, Mr. Adrian Stinson on the phone line. What's going on, fam? How you doing?
Hey, look at what's going on, Andy Brown.
Man, you talk to me about it, man. How you doing?
It's pretty good, man. I'm enjoying this topic. I think this is a good debate that Black America needs to have with itself.
Absolutely.
Right now.
Absolutely. So as we engage in this, man, as we begin to talk about this a bit more, you've heard us talk about the contract with Black America. Yet, as a Black American, were you aware of this contract?
No, I wasn't aware. Of course, I wasn't aware of the contract. I think that everything is so much in a disarray right now. I honestly think Q took it upon himself to be like, look, he got to do something. Now, he may have jumped the gun, like, the contract, and like people saying, well, we have a solid contract, but on the flip side, what else is being done?
What else is being done? Absolutely. What else is being done? You got to go to the people who are in power to make some noise. Because usually if your voice isn't there, man, on a local level, it ain't popping.
It ain't popping. And that's what, I don't care how you feel about Donald Trump. If you want to get something accomplished, you got to talk to the man because he's the one in power.
Exactly.
I mean, you can hate it, but at the end of the day, if you got something you need to, you're trying to get across, you're gonna have to swallow your pride and be like, hey, can we talk?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he's made things to the point where in Black America, if he say hi, you say hi back, you're cool.
And that shouldn't be the way it is.
Shouldn't be.
Let me give you.
I mean, we talk.
Go ahead. Say your piece, because I'm gonna chime in on this.
I mean, people talk to Reagan,
Right.
They had plans. They had to talk to Reagan. LBJ and Martin Luther King. They had to talk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and things like that. So I mean, it's like if we sit back and complain, that's one thing.
Right.
If we want some action, you're not gonna get that action if you don't talk to the man. Go to him and be like, hey, look, you say you did this for black people. Look, this is what I got right here. Can you help us do this?
Mm-hmm. Well, you've seen this story play out many times over, and I can give you the most illustrated example of how this really looks is the fantasy action, The Wizard of Oz, right? You got so many people who want to go talk to the wizard, man. If you want to get anything done, you got to go see the Wiz. Well, I don't want to make that journey.
You got to get down that yellow brick road.
Right. I don't have any heart. I don't have any courage. You know, if I want to get home and I want to have things look the way they need to be and the way that I grew up and get things back to making my America great again and going back to where I need to be at, then I got to talk to the Wiz. I got to talk to the person in power. And think about the irony in this. If we look at what was the Wiz when they finally got to the wizard, it was just a soft little man behind the curtain.
That's all I'm going to say. He was a fraud, and then you find out that the power was in you the whole time.
The whole freaking time.
The problem with Black America is the power is in us, but it can't be in us if we're not all together. So that's why we can't get our power together, because we're not as one. You know,
no heart. No courage.
Yeah, we both know we got the black lion, we got the yellow and the green line together, but the red and blue line, they ain't coming. We can't fight.
No, you're so right about that, man. This is a real issue that has to be addressed. So, have you yourself registered to vote?
Oh, I voted early the other day. I made sure that I voted early so I could avoid lines. This was too important not to go ahead. I think this election, it shouldn't be like, yeah, I'm going to go in and vote. You should be itching like, dang, I got to hear them get up here. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like this. You know how it's like the person that went to the pen, they made a dumb mistake. Mm-hmm. And they wind up, they didn't get the time they should have got, but now they're getting a second chance at life.
Right.
This election is a second chance for us. Okay. You got the dumb. You saw what happened when you didn't vote, and you saw what happened when other people voted dumbly. Now we done made it through these 4 years. It's a second chance. Okay, now let's do the right thing.
Absolutely.
Because I believe personally that Donald Trump is the best thing ever happened to America. Because America got to see exactly. We got to see exactly what it was. People that don't vote, they got to see exactly what could happen. People that voted and thought it was cute, they got to see exactly what could happen.
Right.
I think he was the wake-up call. I mean, I think it's been a terrible 4 years, but I think his presidency was a wake-up call. America is now, we've always been hated around the world, but this is the first time that we are an absolute joke to the world.
Real spit. I'm loving the dialogue, man. Thank you for chiming in, bro. Always continue to support. Definitely want to get you back on there for further shows, man, to further topics. But this is real spit. I love it. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, that's definitely that.
Absolutely. Appreciate that, man. My main man, Adrian Stinson, Kappa Alpha Psi's finest, chiming in all the way from Dallas, Texas. It's a long walk from Dallas to Kansas City. But folks make the time to tune in, chime in, and get this real that's being displayed tonight. So what I want to leave the folks departing tonight in the information that's going on, not only should you register to vote, to have your voice heard, but take some action, right? Take some action to do what's necessary to make the adjustments to where we're at. Ice Cube is on the hot seat because he took action. And a lot of us don't want to take action because we just want to sit back and we don't want to. Don't come bother me over here. You know, whatever happens over there, just let it be safe and just don't bring it to my attention. And like Adrian said, man, this is a wake-up call. It's time out for that behavior. It's time out for living like that and just living, you know, in your small little bubble of fear. That we have to stand up. We have to be more aggressive because it's bigger than who we are in this little small bubble of 2020, right? If things don't change, and if you don't change the way and the behaviors which are around you, then it's going to remain like this. So what does it look like for the future? Not only going into 2021, but the next, 10 years, 15 years, 30 years, and 100 years. You, sir, ma'am, have the ability to make some change and to make an impact. And I'm encouraging you to not only exercise your right to vote in this upcoming election, but to step in place and say in your own communities, in your own neighborhoods, and within your own families, to get on the hot seat and say that this is what has to be done. I'm willing to stand up and I'm willing to let my voice be heard within my community to make a difference in what it is that I'm doing. So in challenging you tonight, I also want to make sure that folks will listen to the sound of my voice. Tune in, man. Get some good game. Follow us on social media, on different platforms. If you have some good insight and you want us to chime in on a particular topic, you can do that. The address is going to be there available for you at Andy Brown Speaks. You can hit me up on YouTube. You can hit me up on social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, because I want to hear from you. You are the voice, and you are the people, and you are making the show what it is. And again, if you got some good insight and got some good game, please tune in with us on Thursday as we come back with another hot topic. What is it going to be? You know what? I'm not quite sure, but it's going to be impactful to your life as well as it is to mine. So I want to thank you for making time for this tonight. And if you can, tune in and just tell 5 more people to tune in with you. Share the page, hit the like button, show some love, hit some hearts as we come back with you with another hot topic right here on the Online Happy Hour. Good night to my family. Go out to my frat. And I'm gone. It's your main man, Andy Brown, right here on the Online Happy Hour. Peace out.